director of the Boston Temple Coalition. Say a little bit about each of the two organizations before we bring them up here, okay? First is UTEC, was founded in 1999 in Lowell. It was a result of organizing a movement driven by young people to develop a teen center to respond to gang violence in Lowell. Today, UTEC is nationally recognized as a model for youth development industry. Mission and promise is to ignite and nurture the ambition in Lowell's most disconnected youth and trade violence and poverty for social and economic success. The Boston Temple Coalition started in 1992 out of the need to reduce the number of urban youth shot and killed by violence and state. The organization got its name from the 10-point plan that created and codified how churches should approach and be involved in violence. The Boston 10-Point Coalition is a group of 68 Christian churches that work together in 23 community-based groups throughout the city and state, as well as agencies hosting city and state and to mobilize the greater Boston community around the globe for violence prevention. It's understood that no one will do it alone. Collaborations and partnerships work effectively because everyone shows mutual respect to each other. Their work, their efforts, and collaboration is key. Please give a warm welcome to Reverend Jeffrey Brown from the Boston Temple Coalition. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Oh, you can do better than that. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It is a pleasure to be here to be a part of this particular summit, and to also be on panel with my good friend Greg from Lowell, fantastic organization, and you'll hear more about it from him. I have a couple of people here who are associated with the Boston 10-Point Coalition. We have Brother Monty Kendrick and Brother Shaquem Malal. You all just raise your hands for the folks who see you. They do much of our street work, mentoring at Boston 10-Point. I'm also joined by my COO, Ed Gaston, who is somewhere around here. Oh, praise the Lord, there he is. I am going to just speak for a bit and just tell you about the urgent need for mentoring, and then Mr. Gaston will come and he will give you the PowerPoint presentation that I have to send. Unfortunately, I have to jump down to the city of Boston, where we have a particular rally at about 3:30 this afternoon. But 20-something years ago, if you had told me that I would have been a part of a collaborative effort that would be nationally recognized to reduce gang violence in the city of Boston, and that I would be out on the street working with those youth who we all know are highest risk for violence, I would have looked into your drink to see what you were actually drinking. I didn't start this kind of work with the aspiration to be a part of someone's crime reduction strategy. I actually had ambition 20-something years ago that is not unlike an ambition for any young pastor who just came out of school and pastor church. I mean, I wanted to be a mega church pastor. You know what that is? I wanted a 15,000, 20,000 member church. I wanted my own television ministry. I wanted my own clothing line. I wanted to be a long distance carrier. You know, the whole 9 yards. You know, like those preachers. First year pastor that increased about, the church increased about 20 minutes. So, you know, mega church was way down the road. But what happened to me was, while I was doing the work of a pastor, because the ambition for me was just to be a good pastor, a young man got killed in Central Square, actually on Main Street, where my church was, and two young men, Jesse McKee and Little Retro Carrier, they were in front of a group of youth in a housing project right down the street from my church. And as Jesse was running from the scene, mortally wounded, he was running towards the church. And he died some 150 yards away. Not to say that he was going to the church, but when he was guided to the church, he really made a difference. because the lifestyle is no longer there. And that imagery was the thing that haunted me. That there was a young man in dire and desperate need, and if it had gotten to a place that is supposed to be helpful, it wouldn't have helped at all for him. And so I tell you that story to tell you one of the first principles that I believe is a bedrock principle of mentoring. And that is, if you really are going to mentor, you have to be there. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
And I also got that lesson from a young drug dealer that was in the Four Corners area of Dorchester. Really young man. And he was one of the ones on the street that actually taught me a lot about street life and street culture, helped me to understand the mentality of the street. And one day we were sitting, and he said, you know, I've got about 16 little men, is what he would call them, with me. And he said, they could be yours. And I said, well, how could that be? He said, well, the way that they can be yours is that you be here. Because they're mine, because you're not here. That I'm here and you're not. And because I'm here, they look to me. So although many of you know this, because I see a lot of folks that I have known throughout the state over the years, been in relationships in the city of Boston, what mentoring is about is still consistent today as it was 20-something years ago. We have to be there with the youth. And not just be there on special, but be there in the regular. The times in which they are just living everyday life, checking in on. I had a young man who I won't name in the neighborhood that I won't name, who checked in on me regularly, and I check in on him. And no matter where I am, he'll call me, and he'll say, Rev, where you at today in the country? And I'll tell him where I am. And we'll have a conversation, and he'll tell me what's going on, and we'll hang up the phone. And we've been carrying on this conversation for some years now. But every time he asks for me or wants to see me, I'm there. You have to be there for these young people, and you have to be there consistently for these young people if you want to mentor correctly. The next part that I think is a bedrock principle around mentoring is not only do you have to be there, but you have to be there for them. Can somebody say for them?
For them.
If you're going to be a part of a mentoring program, don't get in it to make you feel better. Get in it because there is a need in our society for more people like you to get into the program so that you can pay attention to the young people that you're about. Now, I know that goes counter to some folks who will say, well, you know, there has to be some element of self-gratification. I suppose there should be. But the bottom line is it has taken us a long time in our society to get into the conditions that we're in. We were dealing with failed housing policies. We're dealing with failed social policies. We're dealing with failed economic policies that have extended for decades. We find ourselves in this situation. It's not going to end with one visit or two visits with a young person in one summer and you've done a good job. It is about being there, and it is about being there for them. Third bedrock principle I think is important around mentoring is that not only do you have to be there and that you have to be there for them, you have to be there all the way. And what I mean by that is that part of mentoring is relationship building. It's all about relationship building. It's about them getting to know you and you getting to know them. And being able to tell them things about themselves and not being afraid as the relationship builds to challenge a young person to be better and to improve their life. One of the things that I often laugh about when folks ask me about mentoring is that sometimes you have to tell a young person what to do and what not to do. And it's a daunting thing because there's some folks who feel like I might lose the relationship if I actually begin to tell a young person those things. A lot of young people are in a relationship with you because they need to hear it. And they are seeking to hear it. So let them know what limits are. I had a young man who said to me one time, you know, I really appreciate your conversations because it's about real talk. You challenge me, and then you said to me, and then I challenge you. He's absolutely right. Because a lot of young people don't like a lot of fake talk. And I give an amen.
Amen.
And so, as a result of that, and getting involved in the relationship, you have to be real. You have to be authentic. You have to be yourself with all of your faults and foibles, but also all of your virtues. They want all of that. And then the final principle that I wanted to at least mention to you this afternoon is that in the midst of all of the building of relationships, you also have to take care of yourself. Because in this work, it is very time-consuming and it is very labor-intensive. There are times in which you're working with a young person and it seems like you're taking 3 steps forward and 2.5 steps back. And it can be very taxing. You have to learn how to take care of yourself. You have to learn how to be able to step away for a while, take a break, be able to deal with yourself. It does no good to keep working until you burn yourself. You have to be able to govern yourself in such a way where you can be at your optimal self as you work with these young people. Boston 10-Point Coalition has been in existence since 1992. We have 68 churches that are affiliated, and it is an important thing for us to continue to tell our pastors and our congregation members that the work of the street cannot be a side job for the pastor that you don't know what to do. That the work of the streets is something that should be a part of the central mission of the church. Because this work is the work of our community. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
And so the challenge I say to the churches is that you have to learn how to embrace this culture. You have to learn how to understand it and enter into it in order to be a part of the change that we all need in the community. And it involves the whole church, and not just the section. For those of you who are religious, have churches, and you're thinking about doing something faith-based, heed my words. If it's a side ministry of your church, then you're not really dealing with the problem. You know, when we talk, I just heard a sermon a couple days ago in Washington, D.C. from Harold Dean Truitt, who runs prison ministries across this nation. And what he has been saying is that I have been talking to pastors trying to turn churches into re-entry churches. He said, I'm not trying to build re-entry ministries. I'm trying to turn churches into re-entry churches. In other words, the whole church has to be involved in re-entry. You know, when people get sick and they find themselves in the hospital, the church springs into action. You have members who will go and visit the sick. You have members who will make phone calls. They will cook food, and they will deliver the food. They will take care of their members. The whole church that gets involved. So when we start talking about prison ministry or street ministry, it's usually 3 people that get trained to do this work. Somebody else say amen?
Amen.
And as a result, now, you know, this would be something. If in churches, as we said, we're going to change our sick ministry, our ministry to the sick and shut-in. What we're going to do is, rather than the whole church embrace it, we're just going to train 3 people to go into the hospital and just do a worship service. You know, if I did that, they would open out the church the next day. If we're going to do the work of dealing with how to bring peace to our community, it has to be everyone, because everyone is a part of this community. Everyone must get involved. It is something that affects all of us. And if there is not a drive from the leadership to push that principle, then that side ministry will make you feel good, but it will do little to bring resurrection to us. I want to thank you for listening to me, and I'm going to ask my colleague Ed Gaskins if he'll come and give you the PowerPoint presentation. Have a good day.